I'm Tracy Baxter with today's Record Newswatch. Business owners and farmers are continuing to assess damage following last week's violent hailstorm that ripped through parts of eastern Orange County. Among its victims, a number of car dealerships that were hard hit, literally, as golf ball-sized hail dented vehicles parked on their lots. At Midway Auto Sales in Montgomery, President Joe Bonici said at least 30 cars in his inventory were damaged. Their plan is to repair all the dings. Other dealerships were taking a different approach. Newburgh Nissan is having a, quote, one hail of a sale as a way to try to sell off hail-damaged vehicles as is. Christian Livermore will have a full report on the damage that was resulted from the hailstorm, and reporter Megan Murphy will tell us about the impact on the area's cherry crop in tomorrow's Times-Herald Record. Two significant sentencings today in Orange County Court. 34-year-old Filiberto Gonzalez was given a 16-year prison term for his guilty plea to a first-degree assault charge. Gonzalez was arrested last June, 5.5 years after the brutal beating of a woman at Palisade State Park in the town of Tuxedo. Gonzalez had been living in New Jersey under an assumed name until fingerprint evidence linked him to the assault. And 18-year-old Jesus Jimenez of Middletown was sentenced to 7 years behind bars. He robbed a 72-year-old woman last November after she walked out of Thrall Library. She suffered a fractured pelvis in the attack and spent 17 days in the hospital. Jimenez told police he used the cash to pay his cell phone bill. There's been another suicide in Sullivan County Jail, according to Undersheriff Eric Chaboti. 46-year-old Anthony D'Elia of Bloomingburg hung himself in his cell with strips of towel early yesterday morning. D'Elia was in jail on a charge of criminal contempt for allegedly violating an order of protection. On May 29th, inmate Carrie Costello was found hanging in his cell. Costello was being held as a fugitive from justice in connection with a series of armed robberies. State police have arrested a Saugerties couple following the gunpoint robbery of an elderly woman inside her Greene County home. Investigators say 29-year-old Elizabeth Carney and 33-year-old Patrick Bennett targeted their victim, who lived alone. According to police, Carney asked to use the phone, claiming her card broken down. Once inside, Bennett ran in and put a pillowcase over the woman's head, then threatened her with a gun. The pair left with the woman's purse. The victim wasn't seriously hurt. Bennett and Carney will face the felony charges of robbery, burglary, and grand larceny. Dee Gordon has been spending lots of time on the phone recently. Unfortunately, most of the calls have been attempts to separate her from her money. The Middletown woman told us that in the past couple of weeks alone, she's gotten more than a dozen calls from scammers telling her she won money and will get it once she provides some personal information as well as a little upfront cash.
I kept getting these calls, and I would write down the number, the caller ID. Some of them came through without saying private caller. And I would ask them to tell me what was involved. And the first one said I inherited $2.5 million. And all I had to do was go to CVS and buy a card for $199. I just feel badly for people who would fall for it, and I would be inclined to fall for it myself, because I'm living on an unlimited income and I could sure use $2.5 million.
Gordon diligently documented all the calls, but police have told her to this point nothing can be done, because those calls were made with untraceable cell phones. She hopes more awareness will reduce the number of people who get taken in by phone scams. What's the connection between the West African country of Ghana and the Orange County city of Port Jervis? The answer is master drummer Maxwell Kofi Donkor. Donkor, who grew up in Ghana, lives in the town of Greenville, and he's been offering free of charge drumming workshops for local residents interested in learning more about the music and culture of his native land. Reporter Stephen Sacco checked out the workshop that was held Wednesday night at St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Port Jervis, and he'll have Donkor's fascinating story in an upcoming edition of the Times-Herald Record. And Middletown resident Jermaine Eady is preparing for an experience of a lifetime. Jermaine is one of 315 athletes who will be representing Team USA at the 13th Special Olympics World Summer Games. That'll be held beginning June 25th in Athens, Greece. Jermaine is a weightlifter who holds New York State Special Olympics powerlifting records. The World Games will feature 7,000 athletes from nearly 180 nations. Good luck, Jermaine. Well, don't forget the umbrella when you head off to work tomorrow. Clouds and the threat of showers are in the Friday forecast. The highs will be up around 80 degrees. Saturday will be partly cloudy with temperatures creeping up into the mid-80s. Find out what's going on locally and worldwide by picking up tomorrow's Times-Herald Record. And for news when you want it, keep clicking back here at Record Online. For Record Newswatch, I'm Tracy Baxter.